What is going on, warriors and farmers of Tamaris? Welcome to the mastery season in Call of Dragons. Today we're going to find out some of the best mastery skills to use for your 5 mage marches. If you're new here, like, share, subscribe, leave some comments down below. Without wasting any more time, let's get this party started. Alright, warriors of Tamaris, the brand new season is here. Looks like the devs have combined the mastery skills with the fellowship system. This is brilliant. For today, we're going to check out some of the best mastery skills to use for your mage marches in Call of Dragons. The first thing we're going to do is click on the skills if you want to check them out. I don't know if the skills are going to be the same for all the different KVKs, but this is what we have in our KVK. So I'm going to click on each skill. You can pause and read it if you want to. And then we're going to check out the best skills to use on the mages that we have in the game as of right now. If you're new here, you know what to do. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, those were the skills that we have in the game. So now we're gonna go over to my iPad or my tablet and then see what is going on. I got some nice images to show you guys today. Alright, warriors of Tamaris, these are the skills that I have picked for the mages in this new season. The first one up top is going to be Ming and Gomorrah. We got compound interest for Bertrand and we have Eye of Insight for the Atheists. Now the image looks a little bit confusing, but don't worry. The next image is going to simplify everything and show you guys exactly which ones are going to be the best. For now, we're going to see the 2 skills that are going to be working well on each one of these legions. The next one on the list is going to be Lilia and Velin. We got Shaman's Call for the Bakshi and we have Rejuvenating Blessings. Lilia and Velin do suffer from survivability on the open field, which is why I have picked these 2 skills for this Lilia and Velin. The next one is Bertrand and Tohar. We're going to use Perfection of Form to give you some march speed while giving you 15% more hero skill damage, or you can go with the 10% more damage dealt for the Guanwin preemptive strike. And then we have Thunderlin and Thalia. You're going to use the Deep Burn for the Lilia, which gives you 20% magic attack and 10% HP, or you can go with the Forest Shadow for Syndrion. When battle begins, Legion gains rapid fire for 3 seconds, launching an extra normal attack every time they launch a normal attack. 3 seconds after battle begins, your Legion gains 20% attack, lasting until battle ends. Thunderlin and Thalia do not have any instant impact skills. Therefore, this Forest Shadow is really going to do well on this march. We also have Magrat and Zeta with the Celestials. You can also use the Forest Shadow on this march. So right now we got so many stuff on the screen. The next image is going to show you what to use. These are some of the skills to use for the mages in all the different factions in Call of Dragons. We're going to start off with Ming and Gomorrah. The best skill to use is going to be the compound interest. This skill says when Legion deals hero skill damage, they gain 1 stack of golden mark for 5 seconds, maximum 3 stacks. Each stack of golden mark is going to increase hero skill damage dealt by 10%. Yun Ming does hero skill damage every 2 seconds, which means he's going to maximize this compound interest within maybe 6 seconds, give or take. He's going to get this thing to 30%. And then when Gomorrah casts her rage skill, the 30% is going to be active. And Yun Ming is going to use this skill throughout the march as well. So this is the best place to use the compound interest. We're going to move on to Lilia and Velin. With Lilia and Velin, this march is going to suffer from survivability on the field because we have the likes of Kuma and the Quan. And in this new season, we will be getting new infantry heroes as well. So things are going to be very challenging for Lilia and Velin, which is why we're going to be going with Rejuvenating Blessing, increases Legion HP by 20%, and maximum Legion capacity by 7%. So this is going to make you very tanky on the field, and the troop capacity is also going to let you do more damage while being tanky in the process. So this is a very good skill to have. Now with Lilia and Velin, you can also use the Bakshi skill known as the Shaman's Call. While in battle, Legion randomly gains either Ascension, increase attack and defense by 30%, Passion, increase rage accumulation speed by 30%, or Spirit Siphon, launching normal attack grants you healing. I think 200 healing every second for 5 seconds. So this would be another alternative to use with Lilia and the Verlin. So you'll have to pick one between these two. I think either one is gonna be good. Just test it out on the field and see which one makes you last longer. Lilia and Verlin will just do a lot of damage if they can stay for long on the field. Up next we have Bertrand and Tohar, and the skills that I've picked for this march is going to be the deep burn for the Lilia. Legion magic units gain 20% magic attack and 10% HP. Now if you don't want to use this skill for the Lilia, you can go with the one that gives you 20% march speed, which is this one right here, Perfection of Form, the one you get from Verlin. And it's gonna give you 15% more hero skill damage dealt. I think that is decent, but in my opinion, I would probably go with this one right here, the deep burn from Lilia. You get 20% magic attack and 10% HP. It should help you do more damage while being tanky at the same time. Guys, open field is full of Kuma and Lake 1. They do a lot of counterattack damage, so you need something that's gonna help you out on the field. And then we have Thunderlin and Thalaya. This time you're gonna use Forest Shadow. Now this is what you use if you're gonna be playing in, like, I think Spring Wardens or the faction for the Elves, the Wilderberg. I would go with Forest Shadow for Thunderlin and Thalaya. This march does not have instant impact, especially when you're kiting enemies, going in, hitting them for like 5-6 seconds and then backing out. This march does not have that fighting style. The good thing is we have the Forest Shadow for Syndrion, and this skill is not classified as physical. It is universal, so you can use it with your mages. You're gonna get 3 extra normal attack every time you enter battle. On top of that, you're gonna increase your attack by 20%. This march is already tanky on the field, so this is going to be a very good addition. Now, in some of the other factions, people don't use Magrat and Zeta, which is why I didn't include any skills for them. And also we have Musiang and Bahon and Thaya. These 3 heroes do not have any skills that you can swap out, which is why I haven't included anything for them. So this is the mastery skills for all the different factions that we have in Call of Dragons. The next one is gonna be the League of Order. When it comes to using Celestials in the League of Order, this is how I would use the mastery skills. Obviously, the first one is going to be Compound Interest for Yunming and Gromora. You better use this skill over here. You don't really need to put it anywhere. Yunming and Gromora will utilize this Compound Interest efficiently. The next one on the list is Lilia and Verlin. You're going to keep the Rejuvenating Blessings. You're going to use this one over here. If you don't like this skill, you can use the skills from Alistair, the one that gives you 10% HP and 10% attack. Or you can use the one from Craig. That one gives you 10% attack and I think 10% defense. Those are some of the options that you have to use here for the Lilia. Then we move on to Bertrand and Tohar. You're going to keep the deep burn for Bertrand and Tohar. You get Legion magic attack of 20% and HP of 10% for survivability. The last one here is going to be Thunderlin and Thalaya. This time you're going to use Shaman's Call, the skill from Bakshi. This skill is going to work well with Thunderlin and Thalaya. There is a healing here that's going to be very useful. You get 200 healing every second for 5 seconds. And then Thunderlin is going to buff that healing, I think, by 20%. So this is going to be very good for this lineup. On top of that, you're going to get some rage accumulation speed of 30%, which is going to be great. You get attack and defense every now and then. So this is going to be a very, very good skill to have on this Legion. You're going to notice that I took out the Forest Shadow and decided to give it to Magrat and Zeta. Why did I do this? That is because Magrat and Zeta will utilize this skill more efficiently. Zeta has a skill known as the Dawn Watcher's Mark. She gets 3 stacks of Dawn Watcher's Marks, which are going to give her like 8% normal attack damage for each stack, which means the first normal attack that you do with Syndrion with this second rapid fire is going to be boosted by 32%. The next one is going to be, I think, around 40%, and then the third one is going to be 48%. On top of that, Zeta has 25% normal attack crit rate. So she's gonna crit this thing and take it to the next level. Magrat from her talent tree has like crit rate increase, and she also has some crit rates to use. So you're gonna have a lot of crit rates to take this Forest Shadow to the next level. I think it's going to work very well in this lineup. Now in the League of Order faction, people use either Magrat and Zadar or Magrat and Thunderlin. I think this is still the best skill to use over here. It's gonna help you a lot. When it comes to the 3 heroes that you see here at the bottom, there is not much you can do because these heroes already have like all 5 skills that are useful on the open field. You can't really change any unless you want to change something and make the lineup a little bit stronger. In this case, I think you can work on Moose Young and take out her second skill, the one that gives her a lot of healing. I think the 2 best skills that you can swap for that skill could be this one for the Bakshi or the Forest Shadow. These are the 2 that I would consider swapping out for the second skill of Moose Young, the one that gives healing. Now Moose Young and Thea is a very tanky match, so I think if you take out that healing, it's not going to suffer a lot. Now you can decide to get some more damage to use on the field against your enemies. You can also swap it with Lilia Deep Burn, giving you 20% magic attack and 10% HP. You can try the Aether's Eye of Insight, giving you 30% chance to grant 60 rage almost every second, giving you faster rage skill cycles and helping you do some crazy stuff against your enemies. You can also go with the Guanwin Preemptive Strike, get 10% more damage. Moose Young and Thea is a very tanky march, so you will be over 50% for a very long time to deal 10% more damage. This is something that I would consider. To summarize everything, this is what I would use in the League of Order. These are the skills that I would use for the League of Order. Magrat will take the Forest Shadow. Lilia Velin will take Rejuvenating Blessing. We got Compound Interest for Gromora and Yunming. Deep Burn for Bertrand and Tohar. And then Shaman's Call for Thunderlin and Thalaya. If it comes to all the other different factions, this is how I would set it up, because you don't really have Magrat and Zeta to use in the other 2 factions, so this would be the best way to do it. I think when it comes to Lilia and Velin, you're going to have to choose between Rejuvenating Blessing and the Shaman's Call. It's going to be up to you. So these, ladies and gentlemen, are the mastery skills that I would use for the mages. Of course, I'm going to be testing these things out to see which ones are going to be best of the best. We will be making changes as we go along. Let me know down below how you would set this up for your account. If you're new here, like, share, subscribe, leave some comments down below. And that's it, guys. See you in the next one.